All right, we're back. So, you head over to check to see who is at the door.
Yes, I do. I open the door. I don't even think to ask who is it or anything. I just sort of open the door.
It is the innkeeper.
Oh.
There's a weird man, that man from earlier, downstairs, but he's acting a little bit hectic.
The one that gave you the note?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm a little concerned, but he keeps saying it's important that he speak to you.
You can send him up. I mean, I'm with my my coworkers here. It's fine.
Okay. I will do that then.
Okay, thank you.
He heads down. A few minutes later, there is another knock at the door.
I open the door.
It is Tehran.
Tehran, is everything okay? Come on in.
He looks like a bit damp as he steps inside. No, things are not okay.
What's the matter? Come on in.
I was keeping an eye on Ego's place. I stopped by here to check to see if you were performing, and then I headed over there after a bit of waiting. I've been keeping an eye on him for a while, and then all of a sudden, a bucket of water fell on me. Yet there were no windows above me. There was no one else in the alley where I was at. But a bucket of water fell on me. And I was reasonably well hidden. And now I'm wet. Well, I'm less wet than I was before. Walking helped a little bit, but... Oh, you have the rest of them here.
Yeah, we were just, catching up. That is very, very odd. I kind of look over at Elizabeth to see if she maybe notices a gremlin or anything.
Don't wish that upon her.
I don't wish it upon her, but she's the one that's been able to see him so far.
Nope, no gremlin.
Do you mind me asking who or what you were investigating?
I've been trying to keep an eye on Ego a little bit here and there. I keep waiting for him to slip up. I know he's going to. I found out from a little bit of digging into the records that Ego's the reason that they hired me to work this case. And I'm even more confused than I feel like I ever was. What's Ego's plan here?
Yeah, he was very upset when we mentioned you.
Well, in every other case like this, it's been one of his employees. I wonder if he knows something about Sterling that maybe I'm missing, and that's why he hired me. Maybe he's on to Sterling. I feel like the more I learn, the more it just doesn't add up.
It didn't sound like Ego was involved with hiring him from what he said, right? It sounded more like he just knew that he was investigating him consistently.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Ego knows that Tehran has been investigating him on a number of these other cases, because Tehran has basically been responsible for every employee of his, well, almost every employee of his over the last few months being arrested.
That's bizarre, because when we talked to him, he had mentioned that you had been investigating his employees regularly, although it didn't strike me as that he knew you were employed to do so.
Well, that seems bizarre, especially because it's literally on the paperwork, and he reaches into his pocket and he unrolls a note that is signed by Ego. And it is basically his recommendations for things they could do to better secure the item in the future. And one of them is getting to the bottom of how this happened. What are you perceiving about this note?
I was just trying to see if there was anything that odd that stood out about the note or anything of note.
No, it's written very much like you would expect Ego to talk. It's very concise and very very curt. Like it doesn't sugarcoat it. It just says these are the things that you need to do that would probably make things better for you. Perhaps if you didn't have so many goddamn windows, it doesn't say goddamn, but perhaps if you didn't have so many windows, this wouldn't be a problem. Perhaps if you kept active people in the area, this would be less likely to happen. But either way, you need to get to the bottom of how this happened, and Tehran would be the best person to handle this case.
Perhaps I was wrong, but it's still... I don't know why he would complain about it so much so if...
Exactly.
He knew you, yeah.
I'm worried I'm being played.
Wouldn't be surprised, given...
Set up, maybe?
Yes. If not for some of the information you'd shared with me, I'd be a little more worried that I probably would have missed a lot of this. My original focus was it had to have been an inside job, but now it just nothing makes sense.
Perhaps it was you were specifically chosen because of something in your past.
I actually have a bigger thought. Or I have a more... I think this may be... I'm chosen for my weaknesses, and yes, my... What do you know about my past? He finally catches in. Hold on.
Why is it taking that long?
Well, his mind was on something else.
That makes sense, yeah.
But he doesn't exactly catch what you're putting down.
I would say that it would be irresponsible of me if I were doing research related to our cases to not investigate you as well. No offense, but it would be irresponsible for me not to find out as much information related to the parties involved as possible.
None taken, Antaeus.
I haven't shared it.
At some point, there's some things that you and I can talk about on the side if we're going to discuss looking into people's backgrounds.
I'll just let you know that I haven't shared this information with anyone yet.
I didn't expect that you would. Information is most valuable to the person who has it.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we knew as much about you, Ego. Who was the other person? That was
Sterling.
Sterling.
Nico.
I didn't really find much about him, though, did I?
Sterling was not somebody that you had focused on originally, so...
No, it was Mara or
Maha.
Was it Maha? No, it was the person that owns the company that we were...
Oh, yeah. I don't know where I stored her name. Give me a sec.
Yeah, I'll just mention the people that I looked into and... Yeah,
I need a better... Anyway. I'll find it later. It's not super important at the very moment. But yeah, you list off the people. Well, depending upon how much you know, then you know why I might be a little more focused zealously on solving this, especially when it comes to some of the links between the specifics of the other case that was brought to my attention, this Nico fellow. Look, I'm gonna level with you. I am a good investigator, but I have a weak spot, and normally I find it very easy to just simply take advantage of the ignorance of the ministry members to get the information I need at the right time. The problem is often that ignorance leads to upper level people taking over the case and ruining things at the most inopportune of times.
Too many cooks.
It's not even a matter of too many cooks. It's like every top chef wants to steal the recipe of every newbie that has one that's worth stealing.
and then everything gets a little muddled.
So, I want to try something different here. And after what I've learned about a few of you, and after some of what Brianna and I talked about last night, I think that it might be in our best interest to work as partners, at least in this investigation, and not as semi-rivals. It's important that I solve this case, but I think I should set my pride aside for now.
Well, certainly, I would be. That's what I want, is for us to work together.
You're very pleasant, but I mean this not in a mean way, but your naivety can get you hurt if you're not careful. There are a lot of people at the top of the ministry that would look to take much greater advantage than I nearly did of you. If you shared information too quickly with them. Everyone's looking to get ahead, even if they pretend they're not. So, what I would propose is, I don't think wherever these items are, or wherever they're working on whatever they're planning, or at least what they must be planning, I don't think it's where Ego is staying. I think he has another place. But I don't think he's leaving in a way that I can see him. And even with my money, I cannot afford to take chances investing in things that might give me a better opportunity to see him. I don't. Even then, I would have to be quite close to keep an eye on what's going on. But if there were more of me or more people with the same goals as me, perhaps we could set some way up that he would have to pass by one of us on his way out. And I need to make sure it's people I feel like I can trust and not people that I feel like would sell me out in a moment. Your asses are on the line as much as mine is in this situation.
That's certainly true.
So I think we're at least deadlocked there.
Brianna will look around like at Elizabeth and at Gulron, like, what do you all think?
The dwarf's the one I want to hear the answer from the most.
Wait, have I met this guy before this?
Yeah, he was wandering around the... Actually, no, because you did not go to... You didn't go to the place to talk to...
So I just said, who the hell are you? What is going on?
Oh, right. We never formally met Gulron, did we? My name
Sounds like
is...
you're implying that she shared confidential ministry information. Is this true? Brianna?
If she left her notes lying around and I happened to peer into them, is that really her fault?
Yes. It's called negligence.
You mean like breaking into someone's house and then having your boss cover it up for you? Is that a form of negligence?
No, poor judgment, more like.
This insane baby to bed real fast.
Okay.
I didn't know you had a child, Elizabeth.
Whoa. There's certain clothing restrictions that you're not allowed to do on Zoom.
Yeah, I would really I need you to keep your daughter's hand in line, because I don't need to get deplatformed here.
For her undressing you.
Jesus.
What was it? Like reached up and started grabbing the top of the shirt. She, not it. That's mean of me. Really, they. They
Hey, if you said she, you're assuming her gender.
Right, that's why I said they. I corrected it to they.
They babies.
Yeah, it is also neutral, but it is a lot more derogatory.
Yeah, it sounds like
Sounding.
I hate it as a word. Is like the word we've chosen. I want E. I think E is better. I think E sounds nicer. E. I actually thought I was like one of the only people in the world who was using it for a while, and then it was one of the like listed pronouns that were denounced as like not the effective one, and I was like, huh, I'm not the only person who was saying this. But E is just you take it and you use it conjugatively as if you were like cutting all the rest of the words into like easier pieces.
Like
So you'd have like E, air. E really converts well when it's just a single for a number of other things, but it would work a lot like I.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that.
Yeah, it was a lot like the X idea, but E sounds, in my opinion, better. And it doesn't require you to do a lot of like transmogrification of language in order to keep talking. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. They won. And as much as I don't like it, I will try my best to respect it.
I feel like if I ask you who they is, then you're gonna get
See,
demonetized.
that's the problem. They implies a group. In fact, I actually got... So back when I was younger in high school, I know I'm tangenting right now, but it's probably best...
We kind of got away from it. We kind of got away for her anyways, yeah.
They is a word that I used on papers when I couldn't figure out like how to do it in a conversation when you have like multiple individuals and you can't just use he again, but you also don't want to be overly wordy with names. And so I started trying to use like they to reference a specific person. The teacher was like, you can't use they like that. That's not how they works. And it's like, well...
Look who's laughing now.
Yeah. Now it is how they
exactly.
works. I want retroactive grade improvements.
Grammatically, that's exactly how they works.
It's also not, though. Like, using they to imply a singular person is not necessarily how they works.
Well, it's
unless you're talking about them from a
way.
Distance.
But it does still apply. I mean, not necessarily maybe in every situation, but...
Yeah, but now it applies in situations where it doesn't sound... Like, a lot of language is about, like, how words flow together and how they like, fit. And when you change certain words in a certain way, the words don't fit the same way. And I know this is pedantic, this is minor, this is just whatever. But I like the way that English and a few other languages sound. And I think they were designed to be that way. And I think that when you take certain words and misappropriate them, that you end up with a language that doesn't sound as, like, fluid. Which is often why there's a number of slang words I don't really care much for. But again, that's all me being pedantic and petty. So
I mean, you're not going to get any arguments out of me from that.
Well, yeah, I know.
I'd
You're
say that's
even
pretty
more
accurate.
grammatically bothered by things than I am. So, all right. So when yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say Goran, this is Tehran. He's investigating the break-in. He's the private investigator they hired. I told you about him, right?
I think you mentioned him.
So, what do you think, Goran? Would you be willing to help keep an eye on this place?
Yes, but I don't think we can say we're officially working with you. You're not supposed to know anything about this.
I'm supposed to know what I know. Well, there are things that I know which I am supposed to know, and things that I know which perhaps I'm not.
Perhaps
Not
you
supposed
just
to directly give you information about this is probably more accurate.
Yes.
Yes, perhaps if you refrain from letting anyone know, specifically me, things that you're not supposed to know. If you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I do.
But yes, your help in solving this case is utmost appreciated.
Thank you. And you, Elizabeth?
I mean, at this point, I guess it can't hurt.
Doesn't really matter what she says. I'm the leader anyway.
Look here, you almost got an elbow to the face today, okay? So you can shut your mouth.
Are you making fun of my height?
No, I'm referring to the fact that you cast a spell on me, you dick.
It was a joke. Relax. Jesus. I mean, Iamade. I don't know who this Jesus fellow is.
Halmaday doesn't exist either.
Shashat, calm down.
There you go.
As a member of the church, should you really be using such language?
Yes, I have the authority to use such language.
It's a Shot's beard.
All right. Well, so what I propose is you can't keep an eye out for all of us if we're there. So if a few of you hide in the area around there, I'm sure he'll eventually spot me. He's being very aggressive in trying to identify where I am. I'm fairly certain that that bucket of water probably had something to do with him. But if the rest of you are in other places, perhaps he'll notice me, make a move, and you'll notice him make that move. And that may be just what we need to find out where he is doing and planning whatever it is he's planning.
I don't know if you're familiar with Dwarf's Lab, but we're not very stealthy.
Well, I was hoping maybe someone in your crew might be of help for that.
Well, I can sincerely say that it is not me.
You can't make like a potion that makes us invisible or something?
I don't.
Ooh, that would be good. Antaeus, get the invisibility potions out.
But I mean, the best I could do is I could create a disguise, but I can't make people.
Disguises would probably work just as well if you could help them all blend in. I think that would be almost better than hiding in some ways.
Hiding in plain sight, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it can't alter the body or change the structure of objects, but can style wigs and apply makeup or piercings, and otherwise make use of tools to make superficial changes.
Oh, you have disguise self.
No, I have fabricate disguise.
Okay. That does that does provide a bonus though, right?
I do not believe so.
Hold on.
It was one of those things where it's like I got 7 first level spells, and I'm like, at this point, I've got the ones that I need, and I was like, this might be useful. I don't think that it does, but attempt to disguise check to determine the effectiveness of the disguise.
Yeah. So it's just a quick way to change your disguise.
Yeah. And making disguise checks is probably not. I don't think I have anything in that. I have not going to be effective in applying disguises.
Yeah, it switches you out of whatever clothes you're in and into a different set of disguise clothes.
Yep. I've got clothes in a bottle.
That could come in handy.
But no, I don't know much in the way of spells of that level of effectiveness.
Well, I mean, that's just as well. I think the only one that didn't meet ego was Gulron, so.
Yeah, Gulron could probably just stay out on the street then and would likely not even be noticed.
Where exactly is this place? I had a run-in with some goblins.
It's not in that
Looking.
area.
How do you know what area I ran into goblins?
He's a private investigator, Gulron. He knows.
Investigating me? For what purpose?
Your run-in with goblins was around the area of your breaking and entering, was it not?
How do you even know about this? Why are you looking into me?
I looked into everybody before I decided to have this conversation.
That's the only
Ron's
sensible
the kind
thing
of
to
guy
do.
that wants to be sure before he does something.
What's his deal?
With an 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, his deal is exactly what he just told you.
I'll take you at your word for now.
So, I can help a little bit with the disguising. I was hoping maybe perhaps I wouldn't be doing all of the heavy lifting here, but I'll need a few things first.
Well, I can check and look, as technically war priests know all of their spells. I just have to choose what to prepare. I don't know if there are any spells I didn't input into my character sheet that would be helpful.
Okay.
I might be
They're
able to. Oh, sorry.
basically- I was just gonna say I think it's just basically the same spell as just a cleric's. I just don't know if there's anything that's disguise oriented. Yeah, it's cleric spell list. Let's see, level 1.
I might be able to provide some assistance in ensuring that these disguises are effective
Okay.
to some degree. Not very much, but well, essentially, I'd be would I be able to use profession tailor or something like that to kind of double check it and maybe find some inconsistencies?
No, that wouldn't help as much here.
Or perception, maybe I would just be able to kind of look it over, and I do have a good perception. Make sure that everything's in place, and
yeah, the whole party can kind of do that back and forth, and that can help maximize the overall rolls. But
okay.
But yeah, he'll say he can rush out for a little bit, and he'll come back with a few different things that he can potentially dress all of you up in. He has a number of disguises at his disposal. So let's see how this goes.
If he needs me to use this, I can use it, but I'd prefer not to because it'll take up a spell slot essentially.
Okay.
Because it doesn't do anything other than make a disguise.
Make sure. Okay, so he will do what he can. Okay, let me have the party give me perception checks to evaluate how well he did.
Yeah, oh no, that's a bad one.
Okay, Gulran, you will notice that he didn't do such a good job on Antaeus's costume. Or at least you feel like he didn't do such a good job. The rest of them all look like it would be very difficult for somebody to identify who they were.
Can't you fix up Antaeus a little bit? He looks too recognizable with his elf ears sticking out and being all elfy and condescending. I can see it through his disguise.
A fair point.
Condescending?
Give me another perception. Just Gulran here.
Oh. I've not been condescending.
Yeah, it looks like he'd be much harder to identify.
That's better. He seems less like a know-it-all now.
All right. He'll also unroll a small map of the area out in front of you. A little, you can see where his building is, where there's some alleys and some buildings nearby. And he will ask each of you to kind of pick a spot that you want to remain at.
And he's showing us the best routes to get out from where he's at.
Yeah. He'll point out a few places, and then you guys can decide kind of where you want to stand from there.
What's our ultimate goal if we see it go down? Are we springing out?
Well, I would assume the best goal is to follow him as best you can. Though I do imagine that will be rather difficult.
That will be. So should we have only one, our stealthiest, follow him, or?
I think it's whoever sees him has to just pick up the trail and follow him. By the
Well,
time
maybe-
we could alert whoever is the stealthiest, he'd probably disappear.
That's what I'm thinking. We could have some sort of silent communication when whoever sees him, we can be alerted quickly. And does anyone have any idea about that, or?
Nothing comes to mind, unfortunately, that I'd be able to provide.
Does anyone know about? This is like nighttime, right? We're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any knowledge of maybe some random critters that would be running around, and we could purchase a whistle that makes that sound, so it wouldn't be obvious, and then we would know that's the sound. Like 3 whistles of a rat whistle or something like that. Does that exist? Anyone know anything about that?
Even if it works, how do we know what direction to go?
Also, that would be a loud rat.
I'm just mulling over some ideas. All right.
Whistling rats. I'd like to double check and make sure that his route's kind of like
It seems like he's got it pretty well mapped out, like where people should stand. You assume?
glad I got that out of the way.
Yep.
I'm not sure how well everyone else can see in the dark, but I can see fairly well. So did you take that into account when assigning
The roads
position?
the roads and paths are well lit. We'll be in a much better, nicer area, nicer part of town. It should at least be easy enough to see anybody coming and going from a building. And I'm covering both the rear and the front. Though he doesn't show any signs of rear exits, I would find it hard to believe that if you're looking to do something on the more questionable side, you wouldn't have some secret method out.
Hmm.
I have a phone call home, I think.
Okay.
Sorry, what was this guy's name again?
Tehran.
Actually, I'd ask that in character. What's your name again?
Tehran.
We just met. Tehran. What exactly are your abilities? Do you have access to spellcasting?
No, that's part of why I'm employing you here.
Hmm.
This is clearly of some sort of magical nature, and I'm a little out of my element trying to figure out how this could be occurring.
Do you have anything that radiates light magic? That's a trinket, not that useful. Does anyone have this?
The only items that I have that are magical do not radiate any light forms of magic. I would feel they would be relatively perceptible.
Because I was thinking, since he has not met me before, at least I think we all might be able to see him. I could bump into him and place an object on him that we could detect magic and follow from a great distance and just follow the magic item on
Are
him.
you very good at those sleight of hand sort of things?
Well, it would have to be an item easily put on him. I was thinking
There are
if
lots
someone
of
had
people that roam about town with magical items on them, though. I don't know that would be particularly helpful.
Well, I was specifically looking at. I've heard of this. Well, I don't know if I actually know this in character. I'm trying to. Out of character, I was thinking of like arcane marking something. Would that be a unique signature that you could follow to detect magic, or no?
Nope.
Would it just radiate?
That's just there would be a mark that would illuminate with a very, very, very faint magical aura on it. But you can't like see clearly what the mark is from a distance. And arcane marking something takes like a full round touch action
Well, the idea
or
is
standard action.
have something that has arcane mark on it, like a
Yeah, but then
So
you'd
that
be
would just
putting it in
stick
his
to him.
pocket, so you would be faint magic through a pocket, which is going to be very, very hard to see.
Okay. Never mind then. We'll just do our best to trail him, I guess, but I feel like that will go very poorly, as we're not very stealthy.
I don't think we need to trail him much. As long as we can get an idea of what directions he's going in, we can set up another point later on to try to catch him when he passes by that locale.
All right.
Perhaps he chooses a different route, but then we just go back and wait again. But he's not a particularly perceptive person. I've made note of that a number of times. But he does have access to a good amount of magic and a good understanding of magic. At least I should rephrase that. When he's focused on something, he doesn't seem to be able to focus outside of what he's focused on.
Out of character, I'm trying to remember I think it was this game. And I don't remember the specific details, but wasn't there somebody that lived up north, or was that like somebody, some powerful magical person? I'm trying to remember the details. I don't remember if it was this game or the other one.
I mean, in the north of Knightsbridge, that is where most of the wealthy are.
Well, I thought it was like in the town to the north.
The town to the north
Right.
doesn't matter. We're not even going to talk about like towns outside of this one because the nearest town is quite some distance from here.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if like yeah, I don't know.
No, that won't have any impact on the game whatsoever.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't even remember the details about it. I was just trying to. Oh well.
All right. Well, if we're all agreed, then let's head out and stake out the place.
Okay. Let's take a short break and then see how this all goes down.
Sam?
Be back shortly.